could you talk about the selection process and if you have any awards that you won?
Yes, we have a competition program. It's for shorts, animation, documentary, and fiction. We have a guest program. It's for films which were done maybe a few years ago, and which are done by famous directors and have many prizes. Then we have retrospective screening, where we organize screening of films directed by a famous women filmmaker. And then we have guest festival program. And for example, we had as guest festival program, Male Eyes program, camera dance program, and so on. And we try to work in this way very often because we are very interested to have such exchange programs when we have to show our women filmmakers program abroad and in other countries, and to meet other audience and to see these festival programs from other festivals, because sometimes in Armenia people are very surprised what it means Women's Film Festival, why Women's Festival and so on, and exist any Women's Film Festival? And we say yes, it exists, and you can see many examples. And for us, of course, it's very interesting, and I think it's a very good bridge between countries, cultures, women's, because of course we need to meet, to know each other better, and to have possibility to see films which are directed by women from other countries, and to know more about festivals.
Yes, fantastic. And Mariam, could you tell me, what year did you connect with Leslie Ann and the Female Eye Film Festival? When did that happen?
It was very, very many years ago. I don't remember when it was first. But it's become such a tradition when we invited Leslie Ann to Yerevan to become a member of jury. And we screened her films, Refrigerator, and saw some films, and her last film too. Because sometimes we organize master classes, and we organize screenings of films which were directed by our jury members, and we have question and answers of the screenings, and of course it's a great possibility to not only to see that jury member, but to see what she is doing. So I wanted to invite guests from Women's Film Festival, because of course for me it's interesting how it's working in other film festivals, and I looked in internet and found the name of this festival, and then I wrote to Leslie Ann, and she answered, and after that we connected and so organized her invitation, and she came to Armenia. And then she organized some programs where she screened during her festival Armenian films, some few. And of course, it's very important for us.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Heidi, what about you? When did you begin your collaborative relationship with Leslie Ann and the Female Eye Film Festival?
My journey with Leslie began very recently. We were both invited to serve on jury at the Porto Femme International Film Festival by Rita here. And I regret that it was a very short week that we had time to have very lively, exciting conversations to learn about the Female Eye Film Festival, and for her to learn about women's voices now. And I'm so glad that it happened, because now there's the rest of our lives to get to know each other and continue to collaborate. So it's really nice. But very recently, September of 2021. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that is very recent.
Yes.
So, tell us a little bit more about Women's Voices now. Are there award programs? Are there master classes? What if we were attending or submitting our films to your festival? What could we expect if we attended?
Sure. So the Women's Voices Now Film Festival is very much a work in progress, and I'm really proud to say that we're really trying to focus on the filmmakers as the beneficiaries. So our film festival is promoting emerging women filmmakers making women's rights documentary films, and we say emerging filmmakers who are women because, as we know, women's lives are typically not linear. The trajectory is not linear. So an emerging woman filmmaker is someone who could be 19 or she can be 92, and she's finally gotten the time to have the creative space to make her film. So that's our approach there. And then we are looking to spotlight women's rights, girls' rights issues internationally, and just showing those authentic representations of women in their full-bodied form so that we can then screen them to audiences and have conversations and ask people to think about women and girls differently, right? To challenge perceptions and to shift culture. We do award $10,000 in cash prizes each year. It's divided into about 6 or 7 prizes. And again, the idea there is that while it's not enough for someone to necessarily produce their next film, quite often our filmmakers are human rights activists, so they're using the prize money to take their film. So for example, in our 8th edition this year, a woman won Best Human Rights Prize, and it's a film about the Pakistani women's rights movement. So she is using her prize money to take the film to different communities in Pakistan to show how alive the women's rights movement is there, because while most of us are connected on the internet, obviously we know there are many women in the world who are not. So you got to bring that film to the people to watch, to start, planting seeds for ideas of change. And often our filmmakers are using that for that piece of equipment that was just out of reach, or our recent creative documentary filmmaker winner. She's actually a Lebanese filmmaker, and I want to introduce her to Sam if possible. So she said that with that prize money, for example, like she doesn't have to think about the financials and she can have more of a creative process. So it's sort of like a gesture of encouragement. If anything, I would hope that in the future we'd be able to offer more that would be more substantial in these emerging women filmmakers' careers. Another aspiration I have is I am not a filmmaker. I'm a human rights activist background. So I'm really learning the space along the way, but I understand, many filmmakers want to have other options and opportunities within the industry. So, looking into creating panels, because we're in Los Angeles, can we get agents, attorneys, producers to sit on a panel in front of our filmmakers and talk to them about other avenues of opportunity and to create those connections. And since everyone is so comfortable in these, virtual spaces now, we can really connect people because our filmmakers are very much all over the place, all over the world. So this tool is magical as far as I'm concerned.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a great gift, and we've actually learned to utilize it way more since the beginning of the pandemic. And that's one small sliver of silver lining there.
I agree.
Small sliver. Rita, how about you? Could you tell us a little bit more about what makes your festival special? And now I know that there are these wonderful connections that you're already making. Can you tell us about any awards or programs or master classes that you're offering?
Yes, we have the 5 competitions, one international competition, the national competition, a students competition that is very important for us to give the opportunity to the young filmmakers, and also a competition XX element where men also can submit films, but they need to have women on the team working, or the team needs to be about women. And also we have a thematic competition each year. This year we are showing films about bodies. The theme is bodies. And we don't have cash prizes. We only have like this beautiful trophy to give to the winners. But we have several awards in festival. You also can find in our program debates and around the teams. And also we have this educational program. We have several workshops during the film festival with professionals or with the researchers. And also we have art exhibition and also concerts and performance. So we want to gather all these artistic women in the same place and to enjoy and celebrate. And also regarding the story and all this networking, I feel emotion because of these connections, because it's so beautiful. Because Heidi and Leslie, they were the first two emails that I sent, and I was saying, oh, we want to do a film festival in Porto. We are just starting now. And then in 2017, both of them answered to me and saying, of course, we are going to give you a program of films. And so they are the first two partnerships that we made with other film festivals. And since then, it's like we need to celebrate like 5 years of partnership. So it's very good. And it was very important for us to receive the support and and to have the idea that there are other women that are doing the same in the other side of the ocean. And we are on the same boat. We are fighting for the same things. And when you have the support and you feel this sisterhood, you feel like, oh, I'm doing what need to be done. So it's very beautiful. And thank you for all of these, for all the support. And but I've also met Leslie in person for the first time in Turkey in another film festival, also in Flying Broom. I met Leslie there. It was a meeting for women's film festivals, for the directors of film festivals. Also, I met there the Beirut International Film Festival that was also there. And in the last edition of Porto Femme, I had the opportunity to have Heidi and also Leslie there. And thank you so much for this. Also, we have, going back to the programs, we have always these special programs from other film festivals. And we do these during the festival and also during the year, because we do these special sessions each month in two different cities in Portugal. And we normally we do this kind of partnerships with other film festivals, just to promote and divulgate all the work that we do all the year.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Rita. So Kelly, can you tell us more detail about what your festival offers, and as well, and I'm going to go back to everyone, just maybe for thumbs up or smiles or something, to tell me, do you offer programs all year round? Thumbs up, all year round. Sideways. Yeah, sideways. Okay, well, we'll get to that in a moment when we talk about challenges. So I'm very curious. So
Okay.
Kelly, tell us a little bit more about.
Okay. Well, as I said, Dance Camera West started 21 years ago. The first bridge that we were trying to cross was between the performance dance world and the film world. And as Heidi mentioned, we lived in Los Angeles, which seemed like a perfect place to sort of introduce the very scary world of live dance in a language that this community spoke. Now, what's been interesting about that is the way of making a dance film is very different than the way a Hollywood filmmaker would make a film. It's a much more collaborative, DIY, independent sort of thing, unfunded, which is probably why it's mostly dominated by females making it. There's not that kind of effort to get a big budget film made. So what has happened to us, speaking of challenges, to start there, of course, in the last few years, theaters have been closed. So a lot of dancers were left without a stage, literally, and looking for a way to make work. And they discovered dance film to a point where we've had, 100% increase in the number of film submissions each year. Now, as I said, our challenge even though we are a field dominated by female makers, when you get to the award level, and I think someone mentioned this about how in school there are a lot of women filmmakers, but the higher you get up the food chain, there are less. So we discovered a need to mentor some young filmmakers to help them kind of up their quote unquote production value, to get them closer to that award level of highly funded European male filmmakers. So we discovered underrepresented filmmakers, and here that would be BIPOC artists of color. And we created a mentorship program because we didn't just want to give them a small cash prize, which is, you know, gratifying and fabulous, but we wanted to partner them with someone who worked within this field that could help them learn as they go, because they've, you know, they're not in school directly anymore. And in terms of partnerships, I've been to Mariam's Festival. I've had the honor of having my film screen there, as well as in Toronto with Leslie. And it is a beautiful network that Leslie has built with all of you around the world. And I was in Porto, not at the festival, but there. So I applaud the international connections that are being made. So as I said, we sort of are working within connecting our film and dance community more than internationally, although we are a very international festival. We got 400 submissions this year. We showed 75. We produced 6 films by BIPOC artists, and we hope to keep doing that. That's sort of the challenge, is continuing to fund that program. But the films are from, 30 countries. Of course, people haven't been able to travel to see us as much this year, but hopefully that'll keep going.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Sam, can you tell us a little bit more about the unique position that you're in as a male-identified individual running a female, femme-centric festival, and the kinds of programs and perhaps awards, or what makes your festival unique? And can you just talk a little bit about that?
First, it happened that I am representing the festival as a director in the talk, but we are a female-oriented group, so we have more females in the group than males. And our artistic director was supposed to be also with us at the panel, but she's always busy in writing proposals, and she pushes me to the front line. So I speak here on their behalf, definitely. It's not a male directed festival, definitely. We work as shared governance, and we take all our decisions together. And this is about coincidence, because I'm in fact, by seniority, it happened that most of the team are my students or my colleagues that worked under my in the university. I was the head of department, so it happened that I'm in the forefront or in the front row, but we are all somehow in different places, in different occasions, taking the lead. This is first. Definitely, even the men team members who are in programming or in organization, we have a sense of understanding of our mutual role in leading this industry. We do not believe that of the superiority of neither man or woman. We believe of mutual responsibility and mutual roles. We believe that we have to build a healthy environment where men and women respect each other and respect each other's roles, and do not seek superiority one over the other or any kind of abuse. So this is how we work as a group in production, as students and instructors in the department. It's somehow this environment in Lebanon is outside the regular mainstream of any other work environment in the country. So you can feel when you are in the production environment in film and TV, you can feel that this is a place where there is somehow respect for each other, and there is a kind of equality and equity on both sides. So this is a unique experience in Lebanon as in the Arab world, and even comparing with other places in the world. Like even in Lebanon, you can find in Lebanon women in leading positions as directors, producers, cinematographers, sound people, as editors, and they are leading the industry, especially in cinema. They are there, they are present, they can take decisions. And even women, Lebanese women in the Arab world, in other places in the Arab world, either in the Gulf, in the Emirates, in Saudi Arabia, in Qatar, in Kuwait, they are present and they are playing an important role in the industry, either in film or in TV or in advertising. Especially that film schools in Lebanon, they date back to the late 70s, early 80s, and we have a history of teaching film and audiovisual in Lebanon. We have part of the best film schools and audiovisual schools in the region, and those schools they export, let's say, talents in film to all the region around us. So this is just to put it in a certain just presentation, let's say. As for the festival is a competitive festival. Definitely, we have different categories and different awards, and the selection. Uh, uh, we do not take only a woman film. We have films done by men, but the thematic is about women. If the programmers found that this film falls within our selection policy, let's say, or politics, even, because we want to show the audience a different perspective on women in cinema and in film. We do not believe in victimizing women. We find it very frequently in a lot of festivals that some festivals, they seek stories about women from the Middle East that are victims or they are being beaten in their houses, and this cliche, we want to take it out. We want to show strong women, how they break the stereotype, how they create their own destiny, how they prove themselves in society. And there are a lot of beautiful stories around this, not only from the Middle East, because those topics, they are somehow similar everywhere on the planet. Like, we receive films from Chile, from Peru, from Taiwan, from everywhere, from Africa, and we have the same stories and the same human values. So we focus on this in the programming, definitely on the also the aesthetic level and the quality of the production on both sides. This is just as a brief. I don't want to talk a lot.
Thanks, Sam. Can you tell me, when did you connect with Leslie Ann, or how did you make a connection with Leslie Ann?
It started, in fact, when Doris, our artistic director, was at Flying Broom, and they met with Leslie and Rita. And then we started communicating, and we worked together. We exchanged some programs. We had at that year a program done by the festival, because we have many programs that we run during the year as Beirut Film Society, which is the mother institution. So we did a project called Girls for Change. Leslie loved this project, and she took it to Canada, Toronto. I'm also the program director of the Lebanese Film Festival in Canada, so we had a lot of connections together. And then last year, Leslie was with us as also a jury member in the fourth edition of the festival. With Rita also, we did the Girls for Change program in Porto, Femme. This year we are doing a new program called Voices of Children, which is an amazing training for children, where they do also films about children's rights. So we are always active on this, and we like to take this program everywhere. It's part of the philosophy of responsible filmmaking that we work on. It's a kind of a vision and a philosophy, how to use cinema to advocate for human rights and for all human issues.
Fantastic. Thank you. Responsible filmmaking.
Thank you.
Love it. Tanvi, being a creative producer, a filmmaker, I'm just going to throw a curveball to you. Do you have any questions for the other guests? Because I'm kind of zooming into the question around, how do I get my film in your festivals? How do I connect with you? So do you have any questions for any of our guests here?
I think my question would have been similar to, how do we, of course, the usual, you get onto Film Freeway and you understand what's playing up and all of that. But is there any other way we could stay connected? We have a focused way of, either reaching out or information coming to us. Yes, of course, there's the platform, but, and what other criteria could we, just basic information like that would be helpful, because some festivals we know of, some we don't. But I'm just feeling empowered right now, just hearing about all these wonderful festivals and what the intent is behind them. Where this is the right platform. This is like Sam said about responsible filmmaking, and I think somewhere along the way we all want to do that. In whatever way we can. Not everything will have a huge message. Not everything may have at the end, something to take home. But all these films that we're all making come with a certain intent, which is pure. And just hearing what everybody has to say feels great. So if collectively one can just know how else we could submit our stuff. Does everything have to have a fee? Is there a way we could skip the fee? Because there are all different kinds of filmmakers. Some may not have the money, some may have. So how does that really work?
Fantastic. That is exactly, you nailed it, Tanvi. Thank you. Leslie-Ann, I'm going to call on you first to talk about how we keep connected with you and the Female Eye Film Festival. So you just have to unmute. There we go. Leslie-Ann, I'm going to call on the backstage team to unmute Leslie-Ann, because you're part of the team, Leslie-Ann, so we have to unmute you in a different way. On the bottom of your screen.
Sorry, Leslie has to unmute herself because we don't have the permission.
All right, Leslie-Ann, on the bottom of your screen, on the left-hand side, there should be an unmute button. Yes. Okay. While Leslie-Ann's finding that button, I can tell you that the Female Eye Film Festival has a newsletter that you can sign up for, which is fantastic to keep posted on. There you are, Leslie-Ann. Can you tell us a little bit more about how to get connected with you now that you're unmuted?
I had to go down to the very bottom in the back room, I guess, because I'm in the backstage. Well, first of all, I want to say something that it was a complete oversight on my part. And that is that the reason that this year's program and this international collaboration or co-presentations took place is because largely we have a lot in common, every one of us. And that is that we mentor and we help emerging filmmakers. So the reason, Beirut and Girls' Voices Now and Dance Camera West and Rita's Film Festival and Mariam we go back quite a ways. We mentor. So I'm really proud of this. We haven't done it in a few years, but we will be doing it this year. I'm going up to Wingush, up in Northern Ontario, to work with Indigenous women on their debut films through the Wingush Institute. And so to date, the festival has, under our Young Filmmaker Development Workshop, we've produced 46 short films. 26 of those were directed by Indigenous youth, some girls as young as 13 years of age, right up to young, women. And some of them are really disenfranchised. Some of them had moved to the big city. And we recruited them from the Jarvis Indigenous Institute. So that's a really rewarding program. And I congratulate all of you, because I think, mentoring is such an essential part of what we should be doing as festivals with a mission and mandate to give voice to underrepresented communities. What was the question, Carol? Sorry, I forget. Oh, okay. I remember. You're not unmuted, but I do remember. So we have a history of waiving entry fees for alumni directors. So if their films have screened at the festival, even if it was 20 years ago, we waive their entry fee. We rely on entry fees, much like a lot of film festivals. If we didn't have our entry fees, I can tell you right now, we would not be doing the festival this year, because we really witnessed a surge in prices from printers, all third-party service providers. Some increased their prices by 200, 300%. I mean, outrageous. So we do have a history of doing that. All filmmakers, content creators, whether screenwriters or filmmakers, all they have to do is send us an email and request a waiver code. And we have many of them for our community partners, our partnering festivals, all of you who have filmmakers that would like to submit to the Female Eye in the next iteration. We can provide a special waiver code. We do that for WIDC. Depending on the year, sometimes we can't offer a full waiver, but we'll offer like a substantial discount. And we do discount students, so $20 to enter. It also helps with the awards, which are just got delivered today. They are hand welded. Look at this. This is like a deadly weapon. It's like very heavy, but I just had them delivered before the panel, but they're hand welded by an artist named Dawson Calvert. She's a steel welder. And then we put the plaques on the awards, but these are much coveted by the Female Eye Film Festival. I digress. So yeah, that's what we do. So they help pay for awards and they help support the festival. And we're hoping this year we can get back to having a film program for International Women's Day. And also for many years, about 10 years, we used to run a program called the December 6th program. And that was in memoriam of the Montreal massacre, which took place in 1986 in Montreal, Quebec at Polylatech. And I think 14 women were murdered in that massacre in the engineering department. It was a year when there was a mandate in the government or a mission to get women working in more non-traditional roles, engineering, dentistry, and so on. And a gunman went into the school and mowed down, I think 19 women. There's some survivors, but many of them were killed. So we will hope to bring back that program in 2023, bring back the mentorship and mentor some youth again this year, and we'll be showcasing those films next year. So yeah, all of it helps. All of it helps sustain our other programming. And I just want to say to all those who are listening, who aren't part of the panel, I don't know, I hope they're live. There are a lot of people waiting for this, is that we're launching a 20th anniversary fundraising event at the festival this year. We're going to let it go all year long. It's going to just be, we've never done it before, but it's a 20th anniversary fundraiser for the festival. And so you'll be seeing a great tribute reel with some of this and 20 years of the festival, awards, panels, people coming and going from theaters. I'm really excited about it. So we're going to be cutting together a compilation 20th anniversary tribute reel, which will be accompanying that campaign. Thank you. Thanks, Carol.
And Leslie Ann, Tanvi was talking a little bit about how to keep in contact. So while you were working on getting unmuted, I mentioned your newsletter, and that's something that's really important. I wonder if each of the film festivals and organizations can talk about how we connect with you, how a new filmmaker to the family, let's say, like I've never had my film screened at the festival. How do I get your attention?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Carol? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, submit your film, send us an email. We're pretty accessible. Tell us that you have a film. We will always direct you to Film Freeway, whether you have a waiver code or not, because otherwise we lose track of your film. And that happens a lot when people just send us links. It's very hard to track them is, you know, so, you know, just email us, give us a shout, you know, send us an email, tell us your film is screening somewhere in Toronto. I also have looked at films and culled films from other film festivals like Dance Camera West, Mariam's festival this year, Heidi, Women Voices Now, Beirut, Porto Femme. So we try not to cherry pick from other film festivals too much, because it seems sort of unfair to the filmmakers who submit. So we do it very conservatively. But yeah, just send us an email, join us on social, subscribe to our newsletter, because that's where we publish a quarterly newsletter. It's free. So that's how you can kind of track us and keep track of what we're doing.
Fantastic. So, to the folks in the backstage area, I'm wondering if I might ask you something technical. If our guests put in the chat the link to their socials, could you paste that into our YouTube stream? And then I also want to ask our audience if they have any questions for our guests, if you could facilitate those, backstage team, because I only see the private chat. I'm not seeing the questions from the YouTube. If there are any questions coming from our audience on YouTube, I'd be happy to facilitate those as well. So panelists, if you could pop your socials in the chat, then we can maybe share those with our audience so that we can get some follows. And there we go. There's dancecamerawest.org, and at DCW is your social handle. Kelly, is that Instagram? How many handles is that?
That's Instagram, which is probably the most active space we're in right now. We don't really use Twitter, and
Okay.
my social media person just got hired by Disney, so I will let you know in about a month what we're doing.
And
which is good, right? Mentorship works. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. So Mariam, you just popped in kinfestival.com, KIN festival.com. And are you able to pop in any socials there as well, Mariam? That would be great. Heidi has Women's Voices Now for Facebook and Twitter. And you have your Instagram has underscores in between the words, Women's Voices Now with underscores, and womensvoicesnow.org is your website. Rita, Porto Femme, Porto Femme, FEMME.com. Fantastic. And your Facebook is Porto Femme as well. Fantastic. Tanvi, your personal handle there is Tanvi Ghandi with 2 I's at the end. Fantastic. And Sam, Beirut Women Film Festival.com. And there's no S on the word women. Got it. And you also have your, is that your Instagram handle, Sam? That's Instagram as well, at Beirut Women Film Festival. And Instagram for Rita, Porto Femme.
Sorry.
Yay!
To fix this, everyone has to post their social in the comments section and not in the private chat.
Okay.
When you post in comments, it goes directly to the YouTube.
Fantastic.
Okay.
That's great. Tushar, that's a great secret. Okay, go to the comments, click on comments, and it's looking like we've got some comments in the comments. But if you could, if you could repost, cut and paste your websites and social media handles into the comment section, that would be great. Sam, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yes, I think the comment is not open for our chat. It's for the for the people who are from outside the call.
Yeah, it looks like Tushar, it looks like we can't post in the comments section, I'm afraid. So that's why I'm wondering if the backstage team could do that for us. That would be really helpful. And Tushar, if you and the backstage team could send us any of the comments or questions that are coming from the YouTube channel, that would be great. I'm going to try to pop on there. But in the meantime, while we're doing that, I'd like to talk about challenges. Leslie Ann talked about bringing back some of the programs that, due to the pandemic and funding issues, had to be put aside for this year. Mariam, can you talk a little bit about challenges that your festival is facing and what you're doing to mitigate those challenges, or are they new? Are they systemic? What are the biggest challenges, like the top one or two challenges that you're facing?
Yeah, of course, we have many challenges because after COVID and after war in Armenia, everything was changed, and our situation in all of the world is very difficult. And every year we need to look for money at the beginning. So the problem is that we have no such some grant from Ministry of Culture that we receive every year, and every year we have to look for money again and again. So it's a big problem because we lost big energy on that. And of course, because of that, we have some problems with invitation of the guests because it's big question. But instead of that, every time we are looking at the new programs, workshops, trainings, we are looking for new ways. And for example, during last 2 years, we organized online festival. So during COVID, we had online festival. And last year we had such a hybrid festival when we had offline screenings and online screenings. So, and everything is changing very quick, and every time you need to look for these technologies and so on, and to look for the new way of solving the problems of doing festival more and more interesting. So every time you have to think, to have new ideas to realize. And of course, for example, we organized a few trainings. One was for students, and another one was about women artists. It was called Forgotten Names, and it was very interesting project because as a result, we had a film which was consists from 5 shorts about different women artists, sculpture, musicians, so on. And this is another way where we want to develop, and parallel to our festival, I would like to organize such trainings to help to our girls and young women and women to create, because it's very difficult to find possibility to create film, and it's very important to give them some these tools or possibilities.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Heidi, what challenges are you facing, and what are you doing to meet those challenges?
So for us, our festival has always been virtual, except for the first iteration in 2011. And we see that while that's great to tap into the global community, that in order to get funding for a film festival, you really need to have a footprint in the real world. And in the United States, it's very difficult to get funding from government agencies for film festivals. Our Girls Voices Now program, which is a youth development program through filmmaking, does get funding from all sorts of entities, and that's amazing and wonderful. And our other program, our film collection, is also difficult to fund because it's films, right? Like this is more cultural and creative United States. I don't know if that's our strong point. So we are pursuing now getting corporate sponsorships for our film festival and for our film collection. and navigating that can be challenging, and it takes a lot of time to establish those relationships. So it's the greatest challenge right now is scaling responsibly and wanting to do so much more for the filmmakers than we can. So so sort of having to let go of the we can't have the biggest incarnation of our festival that we would like to see, but then let's double down on building community amongst our filmmakers. So I always try to find the silver lining so that I can even answer this question, be like, we're great, it's happening, in all the things that we've gone through in the world together, that the film festival is happening. That's a huge accomplishment. But I would say, to answer specifically, definitely finding funding for a film festival in the United States, in the government agencies, cultural institutions, this is not really a thing. So going to the corporate world to fund the festival.
Yeah. Go where you can. Show me the money. Rita, at Porto Femme, what are your biggest challenges? Are they ongoing? Is it new because of the pandemic? What are you doing to face those?
So the big challenge for Porto Femme is the funding. So it is we are struggling, to have the money necessary to do the film festival with dignity, because we are doing film festivals with a low budget. So we are always, working. We need to be very creative and also resilient, to do something like this when you don't have money enough to do with dignity. So, and you need to have the support of all the people, all the team. Almost of them, they are volunteers, so that is a big concern, and it's our main challenge always. And also there are other challenges, because with the pandemic situation, we need to find new ways to connect people. And because we want to be an in-person event, a film festival, but at the same time, there are new possibilities of connecting people. People don't have the chance to go to the film festival, so we are finding the best way to be in a hybrid format. So we are going to do our in-person event, and then after the film festival, we are going to the online and to have some special program there, and to establish new connections that were impossible. So we are all this is a challenge for us also, because we want to have the people in the cinema rooms, but we need to balance the two things, find a balance.
Yes, find the balance. That's really important. Thank you so much. I'm seeing a couple of questions I've sort of made a separate window to the YouTube channel, and I see a question coming up there. But Kelly and Sam, I'd love to hear what you are doing to face challenges. So Kelly, first for you, and Tanvi, I'll get to you as well. Challenges, and what are you doing?
Okay. Well, of course, I echo the funding challenge. I made it a priority when I came back to the festival in 2018 to pay the filmmakers. And that is definitely challenging, but I am committed to it. The biggest challenge, though, I think, is venue. We're a nomadic festival, and I have to find a place to partner every year and sort of start over with places. And as Leslie mentioned, prices have gone up a lot for rentals. The other thing is LA is a huge city, so the venues we choose dictate the audience we get based on east side, west side, north, south. So yeah, if I could have one place where we were every year, I mean, I know that's idealistic. We tend to house ourselves in performing arts spaces rather than film centers. They're more accessible, again, because we're considered part of the performing arts world and I guess the experimental film world. I wanted to actually quickly mention, when you were asking about connecting with our festival, and as a filmmaker, I would say the way we connect with every other film form is movement. So if you're a filmmaker who tells a visual story through movement rather than a scripted storyline based on dialogue and point of view shots back and forth, we consider that a dance film. Any sort of film that can tell the quote unquote story, create the characters without dialogue. So yeah, but venues.
Yeah, Yeah, that and Leslie Ann, I know you've had that that challenge as well, being a nomadic film festival. You found a home at TIFF Bell Lightbox now, which is fantastic. So I'm really glad that our filmmakers at this year's festival get to screen their films at the TIFF Bell Lightbox. So that's a wonderful way that you've mitigated that challenge of being nomadic and having a home. Sam, what about you? What are some of the ongoing challenges or the big one that's not
In
funding,
fact,
perhaps?
yeah, in fact, the biggest challenge is that we are living in Lebanon. I think it's the place where it is always a land of struggle. So struggle for external forces, and they want a place where they can fight, and they fight in Lebanon. So the instability is always the main challenge. There is always instability, and although we are living like maybe regular life, so the instability was always like a main challenge. Then now came uh, the economic situation, the fall of the country. We felt like the the currency fell by 30 times in 6 months. So this is also a huge problem. The other problem, the other challenge is also the location, as we were speaking, because we lost all our art houses in Lebanon. Everyone closed the past 2 years. Everyone, all of them closed, including the one where we used to organize our festival. Definitely, we are using the support of our partners and the friends, because we are a small country. It's like all the countries like Los Angeles, so everybody knows everyone. So we depend on the support of commercial cinemas where they host us. This year they presented it for free. I don't think if this can last. The funding is another issue. We are depending now on programs rather than on only the festivals. No one wants to fund a festival, but if you do a training program or academic program or educational thing, so you gather forces and you bring funding for this program rather than for the festival, and from this program you will fund the event of the festival. Another big challenge is that all young people are leaving the country, and this is a very critical issue. So everyone is leaving. We are trying to keep them busy all around the year, so so we don't lose our team. Like this week, we lost people from our team that already traveled to work in Qatar or other places in Dubai. So everyone is leaving the country. And the country is becoming like a place for seniors, not for young people. Although we know that in Lebanon, it's a place where we have a lot of youth and the age range is very young, but people are leaving. So we have many challenges, and we are trying uh, to live a kind of resistance on everything that's happening around us to be able to sustain.
Sorry, those are very unique challenges, Sam, and yeah, that's it makes me speechless because we, in Canada at least, we do have these funding challenges. It depends on the political environment in terms of government funding, etc. But we don't have the same issues. We have a certain amount of privilege here in Canada for certain organizations, and I think there are changes happening in terms of inclusivity in Canada, um, and recognition of our responsibilities and reconciliation and belonging in our communities. So there are those challenges. I know that Leslie Ann has kind of touched on when she talked about going up to Manitoulin Island to work with Dr. Shirley Chichu and the Wingushk Film Institute, working with Indigenous and Black women filmmakers. That new program that Dr. Shirley has launched. Leslie Ann, I'm so glad that you're part of that new program. Tanvi, I'm going to come to you and ask you a question that's kind of related to it's one of the last questions for our panel, but it's related to what you would like to see or what changes you would like to see happening with film presentation as a filmmaker from that creative producer filmmaker perspective. What kind of new innovations would you like to see happening in the film festival world? and then I'll go around to the panel, and then I have one more question from an audience member, and then we'll wrap up.
I think the fact that we could collaborate much more, if I could move to any of these countries and come with my story or work with their technicians, or I could be, you know what I mean, that kind of collaboration would be just so wonderful. It's at some point in life it would be possible. I mean, hearing Sam, and the kind of challenge a country like Lebanon has is so different from a challenge that my country has, from any other. So keeping those aside, if one fine day, if this collaboration was possible without the big monies, but just support by governments, by support by certain big institutes that are filming institutes, or this whole, we have to be able to give back. We need to find ways of sharing art, sharing this craft together, because filmmaking, I personally feel, is the only craft in the world that doesn't need language. I could be on a set with a language that I don't understand, but I'll know what to do. Similarly, somebody coming to India would probably go crazy with the chaos, but will know within a day what to do. And if we could just find ways of doing that, and just even if programs were to happen, or just encouraging voices to come and collaborate, because filmmaking is the biggest example of teamwork. And if we're able to actually do that together somehow, would be just so fantastic. And that's my big dream. I mean, in terms of presentation, we're all struggling in our own ways in trying to get either the monies or the artists or the right backing, whether it's a studio or any other kind of money. All of us are similarly facing similar challenges, but this would be quite exciting.
Fantastic. That's the direction I see things headed as well. More collaboration, particularly as we're speaking as a collaborative group that are, each of the organizations and festivals are already finding ways to collaborate. Kelly, I'm noticing in our private chat that you have a channel that you would like to promote, and hopefully that can get popped onto the YouTube stream. Could you want to speak to that?
I do actually. One of the other things we're hoping to bring to our very independent filmmakers is access to distribution. And we started we became part of the Ovid.tv collective of independent film distributors a couple of years back. In fact, perfectly timed, just at the beginning of COVID, we were ready to launch an online program. So I'm pretty happy about that timing. And so we're continuing it. So it's again, hopefully a revenue stream for filmmakers. As you probably all know, royalties are not huge, but we pay a very, very small licensing fee, or, free submissions in perpetuity if you allow us to put your film up for a year. The other reason we did that is to create access to an international community that isn't among the 1,000 or so people who come to our festival in Los Angeles, who always, where can I see it? Where can I see it? So this year's collection launches on June 15th. You can pre-order, and it will live on this channel of Ovid.tv, which houses first-run features, Bullfrog films. I believe even Women Make Movies is part of it. So again, connecting the dance filmmaker to the film world, which is why I am happy to be amongst you, because we're doing some pretty innovative, crazy stuff that you would not get away with on a regular film set. Come play in the dance playground. We work differently.
That's wonderful. So I'm just going to quickly go around the channels here. We've got 2 minutes, Leslie Ann. I hope you can give us grace for a few more minutes to extend, just a couple more minutes, because we only have 2 technically. How are we doing there? Just give me a thumbs up or a wrap up.
What I'm doing is I'm asking the backstage manager to see if, I think this is timed out at 2:30, but I'm hoping not. I'm really excited to say it is streaming live, and there's probably about over 20 viewers. I think a lot of people were challenged. A lot of people were coming into our space, and we were kicking them out. I don't know how that happened because we posted YouTube, but I think we're going to be okay. If I remember last year when we were purely virtual, we weren't bounced from a StreamYard at exactly the hour, but I'm asking the people in the back room to check that out, and if they need to make an adjustment to the end time, to go in and edit that without disrupting the flow of what's going on here. So let's see what happens. Yeah,
let's see what happens. Well, in the meantime, I'm just going to go quickly around to see what your one big dream is. Tanvi gave us a hint about what her dream is about collaboration, more collaboration with festivals. But what is one big dream you might have? And Usher, I'm gonna just hold on to the floor here for just one more moment. Mariam, what about you? Is there a good dream that you have, like something that's coming up or your festival is looking forward to?
I would like to see you all at our festival, to have programs from your festival, and of course to have this, you can say, round table in Yerevan. So, and of course to have some common projects, collaborative projects where we can work together.
Fantastic. Heidi, what about you? Big dreams, something you're looking forward to?
My dream is to stay in touch with all of these incredible people on the screen and to find filmmakers that don't know about Women's Voices Now and invite them to submit their films to our festival. We always offer a waiver code. Resources are never an obstacle to coming through our submission. So just to see more diverse, rich submissions from all of your festivals and programs is my dream.
Fantastic. Rita, what's your big dream? What are you looking forward to?
I have the same dream, same dream. So I want to keep in touch, and I also want to have more films for different filmmakers from different countries. So that is my expectation, and I hope to have like a truly and diverse program in the next edition. And thank you for everything.
Fantastic. Kelly, big dream?
I feel like we're living the dream come true. It is really beautiful to have a connection with international festivals. I congratulate Leslie on the work she's done over the years to bring us together, to meet everyone. So, I mean, back to my dream is to have a film center where you all get to come live and play and be part of it. But I'm happy also. This year we did help establish a few film festivals around the world who were just discovered the art form and are doing their first film. And I'm super happy. I love mentoring. I love giving information. I'm coming to the end of my career, so I'm super happy to just bring in the next generation. So if any of you have any questions about how to make a film festival, call me. And Heidi, you and I need to talk for sure, right?
Yeah.
Lots of congratulations coming in.
Yeah, fantastic. For your big dream.
In fact, we don't have dreams; we have plans. So, and those plans are to realize everyone's dream.
Well said. Awesome. Thank you. Listen, we have more panels. We have two more panels coming up, one this afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, and then one tomorrow, which you and I are co-facilitating, the Directors Roundtable, which I don't know if your time zones or your participation will allow it, but it would be fantastic if our guests could join us for the Directors Roundtable. Anything you're dreaming about, Leslie Ann?
I'm dreaming about bums on seats in the theater for this iteration. I mean, I kind of have a similar dream as Kelly. I'm also sort of in a transitional. I have a succession plan for the festival, and working with hopefully some of the younger people who will be coming in. And taking the baton. But I would really love to do more mentoring. I would love to do more producing. I would really like to, I mean, ideally, I always envisioned years ago that there would be a female eye kind of production hub where we could actually produce films written and directed by women. And I think we're doing it through the Young Filmmaker Workshop, but it's very micro budget. The films are all like under 5 minutes. But I think it's the wild, wild west, you know? And I'm just super excited that technology works because look, you're all there. Look at you, all you beautiful little faces. There. I don't know if you can see me. We're all on YouTube. It's pretty exciting when it works. I was freaking out thinking things were all going to hell in a handbasket. So yeah, great.
So before we go, I just want to throw over to you, Tanvi, because we're going to be hosting our Directors Roundtable, a Filmmakers Roundtable tomorrow. And anything you'd like us to talk about, any kind of dream or something you'd like us to talk about as a filmmaker for tomorrow's roundtable?
But I just wanted to say that my dream would be to have all of you come to India, actually, and that would be just so fantastic. I don't know. I mean, listening to you guys, I'm just feeling like, what can I do now to get all of them here? You never know. And like Sam said, dream and then make plans to fulfill those dreams. And I think the second thing would be what Kelly brought up was the distribution channel. I think that's very, very important. That I think that is something I wanted to earlier also mention, that we need to have the right platform for all of this to be then showcased, where people can make revenue out of it. You know, that would be something if we eventually were able to figure out where there's a definite, a solid platform that everybody makes money out of somehow. You know, because eventually, honestly, it is business. Everybody has to make money, and everybody should be able to get back something of this. You know. But for tomorrow's roundtable, I think it would be great to hear all the lovely directors and creative, their creative journeys and their vision and their voices. It'll be just great to see and hear that, actually.
Fantastic. Thank you.
I just want to add, we love having industry and festival directors, and it's a highlight of the festival. Carol, we've been co-producing it, co-facilitating it for years. It's usually live. I think in the last live edition, we had something like 60 participants. We had a brunch, and then people join roundtables. We report back, so we collect what is reported back from international delegates, what's going on in their country. Tomorrow, we're going to be exploring the director, screenwriter, producer relationship. And we welcome all of you to join us. It's at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the same time as today. And you can come in, and we're going to have breakout rooms, and it is on Zoom, right? Yeah, it's on Zoom. So it's on, right? Yes, it's on Zoom. The panel today is at 4 p.m. is on StreamYard, and it's Meet the Guilds, agencies, and organizations. A lot of funders. No, not really funders. That's live, but they're people who ACTRA, Directors Guild of Canada, AFBS, Writers Guild of Canada. If you're interested in finding out how it all works, join that. You know, come in and hang out and watch that panel on YouTube. It's being streamed live to YouTube. But yeah, I hope you can all jump in tomorrow. That would be fantastic. Thank you, Carol.
Yes, thank you, Leslie Ann, and I'll be on that panel this afternoon as well.
Yeah, Tushar is coming back into the room.
Yeah,
I'm going to
thank you. And I just want to thank everyone. It's been wonderful speaking with you, and I've learned so much. One of the things that we all take away is we're stronger when we collaborate, and we get more done when we collaborate. And when resources are tight, we reach out to each other. Oh, it's amazing what we can create. So kudos to all of you. Congratulations on all your successes. And thank you for letting me moderate this conversation with you. It's been wonderful. Tushar, over to you.
Wow, that was rich and resourceful panel with plenty of industry insights. I thank you all for participating today. And before we end the broadcast, we would like to take a screenshot with you. So please smile and wave your right hand. Who's taking the screenshot now? Let me try with my computer. Leslie, where's your hand? Got it. Thank you, but please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and let the international audiences witness what we discussed today. There's a lot of passion and passionate conversation with the filmmakers. So looking forward to seeing you all at the festival, virtually or in person.
Also, I want to say that this will live live on the Female Eye Film Festival website. So it'll be available during the festival, streaming from the website, Female Eye website, and also on our YouTube channel. We'll be moving this over to a playlist, 20th anniversary Female Eye Film Festival. Thank you so much, Carol. It's so great to see you. And all
Thank
the
you,
lovely
everyone.
Thank
you, Carol. Leslie, if we can have a list of the contacts of everyone, it would be great.
Yes,
absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Bye, everyone. Great to see you, Kelly. Great to see you, Rita.
Bye, everybody. Great to see you.
Tanvi.
Have a great festival, Female Eye.
We're looking
Bye.
forward.